In 1999, a North Carolina woman picked up a phone call from her bank and heard something impossible. 6 words that made her blood run cold. 6 words that should not exist anymore. Don't let your feet stick out. Those words came at the end of a normal banking call, spoken in the same calm voice the caller used for everything else. But those 6 words had nothing to do with banks or money. They were something the woman whispered to her daughter every night for 10 years. A private ritual to keep her warm under the blankets. Words nobody else in the world could know. Her daughter vanished in 1991, disappeared at age 10 under circumstances police never solved. Now, 8 years later, a complete stranger on a routine bank call just said the one phrase that could only come from that missing child. This is the story of a girl kidnapped by people she trusted and trained to fear the system built to protect her, of a mother who refused to give up searching, and of how one sentence spoken quietly over a phone line exposed the truth after 9 years of deception. November 1999, Durham, North Carolina. Patricia Lawson was doing dishes when her phone rang. She dried her hands and answered on the 3rd ring. "Hello, good afternoon. This is Jasmine calling from First Carolina Bank. May I speak with Patricia Lawson?" Speaking. Patricia pressed the phone between her shoulder and ear, returned to scrubbing dishes. Bank calls happened all the time, mostly about policy updates or services she never wanted. "I'm calling to inform you of updates to our savings account, terms of service. This won't affect your current balance, but we wanted to make sure you're aware of the changes." The voice sounded young, polished. Patricia listened without much focus while the woman explained boring policy changes, something about interest rates and minimum balance rules. Patricia said yes when needed, asked a question or two, let the call run its normal course. "Is there anything else I can help you with today?" "No, that's all. Thank you." Patricia started to hang up when the woman spoke again. Of course, a pause, then in that exact same professional tone. "By the way, don't let your feet stick out." Patricia's hand stopped moving on the phone. The dish in her other hand dropped and exploded in the sink. "What did you say?" Silence on the other end. "Who is this? Who taught you that phrase?" The line went dead. Patricia stared at the phone in her hand. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Her hand shook so hard she almost dropped the receiver. "Don't let your feet stick out." She had not spoken those words in 9 years, had not heard anyone say them since the night before Amber disappeared. Patricia would tuck Amber in, pull the blankets up carefully around her shoulders, and say, "Don't let your feet stick out. Make sure you stay warm." Amber would smile and wiggle her toes under the covers. "Say goodnight, Mom. I love you." Patricia did it every single night since Amber turned 3 years old, through every season, every mood, every version of their life together. It belonged to them, not Patricia's friends, not Amber's teacher, not the police who investigated her disappearance. Just Patricia and Amber, and now a stranger on a phone call just said it like it meant nothing, like it was part of a banking script. If you have ever heard something impossible, something locked in a closed part of your past, you know the feeling of reality breaking, of the world becoming suddenly uncertain. Patricia sat down at the kitchen table, tried to breathe, tried to think. The woman said her name was Jasmine. Jasmine, from First Carolina Bank, calling about account updates. But at the end, after everything else finished, she said those 6 words, "Don't let your feet stick out." And then she hung up immediately when Patricia questioned it. That was not random. That was not coincidence. That was a message. Patricia picked up the phone with trembling hands, dialed the customer service number printed on her bank statement. "First Carolina Bank, how may I help you? I just received a call from one of your representatives. I need to know who it was." "Of course, can I have your account number?" Patricia gave it. "And what was the call regarding?" "Terms of service updates. But I need the name of the person who called me. It's urgent." Typing sounds came through the phone. "I'm showing a service call to your number at 3:47 p.m. today." The representative was Jasmine Cole from our Raleigh office. Patricia wrote down the name with a hand that refused to stop shaking. "Is there a way to reach her directly?" "I'm sorry, we can't provide direct employee contact information. But if there was an issue with the call, I can connect you with a supervisor." "No, that's fine, thank you." Patricia hung up, stared at the name she had written. Jasmine Cole, Raleigh office. She picked up the phone again, dialed a number she called hundreds of times over the past 9 years. Detective Marcus Shaw answered on the second ring. "Shaw, this is Patricia Lawson." A pause followed. Shaw knew that name, had worked Amber's case from day one. had kept it open even when leads dried up. Sightings stopped. Hope faded. "Mrs. Lawson, how can I help you?" Patricia's voice shook. "I think my daughter just called me." May 1991, 8 years earlier, Patricia Lawson had a routine. Every day at 3 o'clock, she left her desk at the accounting firm where she worked and drove to Oakwood Elementary School. Every day at exactly 3 o'clock, she waited in the pickup line when the school doors opened and children rushed out. She was never late. Not once in the 5 years since Amber started kindergarten, Amber expected it. Would walk out the front doors, scan the line of cars, and spot her mother's blue Honda right away. Would run over with her backpack bouncing, climb into the passenger seat, tell Patricia about her day. It was their routine, steady, predictable, safe. On May 17, 1991, Patricia's system shattered. She had a meeting with a client that dragged on. Tried to end it at 2:30, but the man kept asking questions. By the time Patricia escaped the office, it was 3:10. She drove faster than normal, kept watching the clock on the dashboard, told herself everything was fine. Amber would wait. The school was safe. 15 minutes would not matter. She reached the pickup area at 3:15. The line of cars had vanished. The front doors were shut. The playground sat empty. Patricia parked and sprinted inside, found the front office, asked where the students were. "School lets out at 3 o'clock, the secretary said. "Everyone's gone home by now. My daughter Amber Lawson. Where is she?" The secretary looked at a list. "She's not listed as staying for after-school programs. I'm always here at 3. Amber knows to wait for me. She wouldn't leave with someone else." The secretary's face changed. "Let me call the principal." They tore through the school, checked every classroom, every bathroom, every corner, called parents of Amber's friends. Nobody had seen her after dismissal. Patricia called the police at 3:45. Officers showed up, took statements, asked if anyone might have taken Amber, a custody fight, a family member, anyone with anger. Patricia answered through climbing terror, no custody issues. Amber's father left before she was born, had no contact, no claim, no family close by. Nobody who would do this. The police sent out an alert, started combing the neighborhood, talked with neighbors, checked nearby parks, checked everywhere a 10-year-old might go, found nothing. Detective Marcus Shaw took the case that evening, sat down with Patricia in her living room and asked slow questions. "Walk me through your normal routine." "I pick her up at 3 every day. I'm always on time. But today, you were late." 15 minutes. "I had a client meeting that ran over. Would Amber leave with someone if they said you sent them?" Patricia's throat closed up. "Maybe if they were convincing enough, if they said I was hurt or needed her." Shaw took notes. "We'll check with the school about anyone suspicious in the area." The school had no security cameras. The front office was swamped during dismissal. Nobody noticed anyone strange near the building. It was madness at 3 o'clock. Dozens of parents and children everywhere. A stranger could have walked straight up to Amber and nobody would have looked twice. Days became weeks. Shaw questioned everyone. Checked registered sex offenders. Checked anyone with a record of child crimes. Found nothing. A community of parents who lose children to timing knows the special agony of the 15 minutes. Of the moment you were not there when you should have been. Patricia never forgave herself. 15 minutes. That was all it took for the world to collapse. May 1991, the day Amber disappeared. Amber Lawson walked out of Oakwood Elementary at 3 o'clock with her backpack and jacket. The May afternoon felt warm and bright. Other children rushed past her, heading toward the line of waiting cars. Amber searched for her mother's blue Honda. Did not see it. She waited by the front doors, watched other kids leave with their parents, watched the line of cars shrink, started to feel worried. Her mother was never late, never. Something must be wrong. A woman walked up to her, 40s maybe, wearing business clothes, carrying a hospital badge on a lanyard around her neck. Amber Lawson. Amber looked up. "Yes. I'm Mrs. Ross from Duke University Hospital. Your mother asked me to pick you up. She's been in an accident, and she's asking for you." Amber's stomach twisted. "Is she okay? The doctors are helping her, but we need to go right now. She specifically asked for you to come." Amber paused. Her mother had always told her never to go anywhere with strangers, but this woman had a hospital badge, and she knew Amber's name, and Mom was hurt. Can I call her? There's no time, sweetheart. She's in surgery. We need to go now, or we'll miss visiting hours. Amber looked at the parking lot one more time. Her mother's car was not there, was not coming, okay? She followed Mrs. Ross to a car in the lot, got in the passenger seat. The woman started driving. What happened to my mom? Car accident. She's going to be fine, but she wants you there when she wakes up. They drove through Greensboro, then passed it onto the highway, heading west. Amber watched the familiar streets fade away. Where are we going? Duke Hospital is the other way. She was taken to a different hospital, closer to where the accident happened. That did not make sense, but Amber was 10 and scared and did not know what else to do. They drove for 1 hour, then to Dot. Amber started crying. This is too far. I want to call my mom. We'll be there soon. No, something's wrong. Let me out. She grabbed the door handle. It was locked. Tried the window button. It did not work. Please, I want to go home. The woman's voice turned cold. Your mother doesn't want you, Amber. She gave you up. That's why she wasn't at school today. She sent me to take you away. Amber stared at her. That's not true. It is. And if you try to run or tell anyone, the police will arrest you. Children who don't belong to anyone go to jail. Do you understand? Amber was crying too hard to answer. They drove to a house in rural North Carolina. The woman pulled into the driveway and shut off the car. The people inside are going to take care of. You do what they say. You don't ask questions. You don't try to leave. If you do, the police will lock you up and no one will ever find you. She dragged Amber inside. A man and woman stood in the living room. David and Linda Cole. This is her, David asked. Yes, 10 years old, smart. She adjust. Any family-looking mother, single parent, no extended family. The police will search, but they won't find anything. Linda Cole looked at Amber with something that might have been pity or calculation. What's her name? Doesn't matter. You'll give her a new one. The woman left. David Cole sat down in front of Amber, spoke in a voice that was calm, but left no space for argument. Your name is Jasmine now. Jasmine Cole. That's who you are. If you tell anyone your old name, the police will come and arrest you. Do you understand? Amber shook her head through tears. My name is Amber. Not anymore. Say your name, Amber. David's voice went ice cold. Say your name now. Amber's voice cracked. Jasmine. Good. You're Jasmine Cole. You've always been Jasmine Cole, and you don't remember anything else. If you try to tell anyone different, they'll put you somewhere so dark and so far away that no one will ever find you. Not your mother, not anyone. Do you want that? Amber shook her head. Then you're Jasmine. Say it again. I'm Jasmine. Linda brought food, made Amber eat, showed her to a small bedroom with a single bed and a dresser, told her this was her room now. Amber sat on the bed after they left, stared at the walls, tried to process what had happened. Her mother had not abandoned her. That was a lie. Her mother would be searching, would be calling the police, would find her. Amber just had to wait, just had to stay strong. She lay down on the bed, pulled the blanket up to her chin the way her mother always did, and whispered to herself in the darkness, don't let your feet stick out. Stay warm. It was the last piece of home she had left. The one thing they could not steal from her. She held onto it like a lifeline, repeated it until she fell asleep. Outside the door, David Cole stood listening, heard the whisper, made a note to watch the girl more closely. But some things could not be watched. Some things lived too deep to be erased. The first week was the hardest. Amber Jasmine woke every morning expecting to be home, expected to see her mother standing in the doorway, expected the nightmare to end. It did not end. David and Linda Cole kept her on a strict routine. Wake at 7, breakfast at 7:30, chores before lunch, supervised homework in the afternoon, dinner at 6, bed at 8:30. They were not cruel in obvious ways, did not hit her, did not starve her, gave her clean clothes and a warm bed and 3 meals a day. But they controlled everything, watched her constantly, made sure she never had access to a phone without supervision, made sure she understood that the outside world was dangerous and that only they could keep her safe every day. David reminded her, your name is Jasmine Cole. If anyone asks, you've lived here your whole life. Your mother is Linda, your father is me. You don't remember anything else, but my real mom, your real mother, gave you up. She doesn't want you. The police are looking for a runaway. If they find you, they'll put you in a facility where children go when no one wants them. Is that what you want?" Amber shook her head. "Then you're Jasmine, and you don't talk about before." At night, alone in her room, Amber whispered her real name. Whispered her mother's name, Patricia Lawson, Greensboro, North Carolina. And every night before she fell asleep, she pulled the blanket up to her chin and said the words her mother had said 1,000 times, "Don't let your feet stick out. Stay warm." It was the only thing that felt real anymore. 2 months after Amber disappeared, Linda Cole enrolled her in school, Riverside Elementary, 40 miles from Greensboro, far enough that no one would recognize her, far enough that the search would not reach. The school secretary asked for a birth certificate. Linda provided one. It looked official, had the right seals, the right signatures. Listed Jasmine Marie Cole, born March 12, 1981, in Raleigh, North Carolina. It was a lie built on a dead child's identity. The real Jasmine Cole had died of SIDS at 6 weeks old in 1981. Her birth certificate had been filed and forgotten. The illegal adoption network had simply overlaid Amber onto that identity, creating a paper trail that looked legitimate on the surface. Amber started 5th grade as Jasmine Cole, kept her head down, did not make friends, did not talk about her past because David had made it clear what would happen if she did. Her teacher noticed she was quiet, asked if everything was okay at home. Ambrose said yes, said everything was fine because she believed that if she told the truth, the police would arrest her, would lock her up somewhere dark and far away, would make sure no one ever found her. David had said it so many times that it felt like fact, like gravity, like something that could not be questioned. A community of children raised under false identities knows that truth becomes negotiable when it is repeated often enough, that the line between reality and lie blurs until you cannot tell which is which. By the end of 5th grade, Amber answered automatically to Jasmine. By 6th grade, she sometimes forgot her real name for hours at a time. By 7th grade, she had learned to exist in 2 states simultaneously. The girl who remembered and the girl who pretended. But she never forgot her mother, never forgot Patricia Lawson, never forgot Greensboro, and every single night, no matter how much time passed, she whispered the same words before falling asleep. "Don't let your feet stick out." It was her anchor, the proof that she had been loved, that somewhere someone was still looking. May 1991, 1 month after Amber disappeared, Patricia Lawson quit her job at the accounting firm, could not sit at a desk pretending to work while her daughter was missing. Could not focus on spreadsheets and client meetings when Amber was out there somewhere, scared and alone. She spent every day searching, printed thousands of flyers with Amber's photos, posted them in every town within 100 miles, stood on street corners handing them to strangers, went to shopping malls and grocery stores and anywhere people gathered. "Have you seen this girl? Amber Lawson, 10 years old, blonde hair, blue eyes, missing since May 17th. Most people took the flyer politely. Some promised to keep an eye out. A few called with tips that led nowhere. Patricia called Detective Shaw every other day, asked if there were updates, asked if any new leads had come in, asked if the case was still active. Shaw was patient, said the case was open, said they were following every lead, said they would not give up. But Patricia heard what he did not say, that after a month with no credible sightings, the chances of finding Amber alive were dropping fast, that most abducted children who were going to be found were found in the first 48 hours. Amber had been gone for 32 days. Patricia refused to believe she was dead, refused to accept that her daughter was gone. Kept searching because stopping would mean giving up, and giving up would mean admitting that those 15 minutes, the 15 minutes she had been late, had cost Amber her life. She could not live. With that, by August, Patricia's savings were gone. She took a part-time job at a library just to pay rent, spent every free hour searching, checking missing children databases, calling tip lines, following leads that went nowhere. By December, the first anniversary of Amber's disappearance, the police had officially reclassified the case as a cold case, still open, still active, but with no new leads to pursue. Shaw came to Patricia's apartment to tell her in person. "We're not giving up," he said. "But I need you to understand that without new information, there's not much more we can do." "She's out there," Patricia said. "I know she is." "I hope you're right, Patricia." Celebrated Amber's 11th birthday alone. Bought a small cake, lit 11 candles, sang happy birthday to an empty room. She did it again on Amber's 12th birthday and her 13th, and every year after that. Never stopped hoping, never stopped believing that someday, somehow, Amber would come home. September 1994, 3 years after Amber disappeared, Jasmine Cole started 8th grade at Riverside Middle School. She was 13 years old, had been living with David and Linda Cole for 3 years, had answered to the name Jasmine for so long that it felt almost natural. But at night, alone in her room, she still whispered her real name, still remembered Patricia Lawson, still said the words that had become her nightly ritual. "Don't let your feet stick out." She was older now, old enough to start questioning the things David had told her, old enough to wonder if the police would really arrest her if she told the truth. But she was also old enough to understand consequences, to understand that David and Linda controlled her entire identity, her school records, her medical records, her birth certificate. Everything that proved she existed said she was Jasmine Cole. If she went to the police and said she was really Amber Lawson, would they believe her? Or would they think she was lying? Would they check her papers and see Jasmine Cole and decide she was making up stories? David had prepared for this, had known that as Jasmine got older, she might start to doubt, might start to rebel. One night, at dinner, he brought it up casually. "Jasmine, do you remember when you first came to live with us?" Jasmine looked up from her plate. "Yes." "Do you remember what I told you about your old life?" She hesitated. "You said my mother gave me up. That's right? And do you remember what I said would happen if you tried to go back?" "The police would arrest me." "Exactly. Because legally, you don't exist as anyone, except Jasmine Cole. Your birth certificate says Jasmine Cole. Your school records say Jasmine Cole. If you tried to claim you were someone else, they'd think you were trying to commit identity fraud. Do you know what they do to people who commit fraud?" Jasmine shook her head. "They put them in prison for years, and no one would believe you anyway, because all the paperwork says you're lying." He let that sink in. Let her understand how trapped she was. "So the best thing you can do is accept who you are. You're Jasmine. You've always been Jasmine. And you have a good life here, don't you?" Jasmine looked at her plate. "Yes, good. Then we don't need to talk about this again. If you have ever been told that your own identity is a crime, that speaking your truth will destroy you, you know the particular helplessness that follows, the sense that there is no escape, no way out, no one who will believe you." Jasmine stopped asking questions after that, stopped thinking about going to the police, accepted that she was trapped in a life that was not hers. But she did not forget, did not let go of Patricia Lawson, did not stop whispering, "Don't let your feet stick out" every single night. May 1996, 5 years after Amber disappeared, Patricia Lawson stood in Riverside Park in Greensboro on the anniversary of Amber's disappearance. It was something she did every year, came to the place where everything had started, where she had been 15 minutes late, where Amber had waited, and then left with someone who said Patricia was hurt. Patricia stood by the elementary school entrance and imagined Amber standing there, 10 years old, confused, scared, waiting for a mother who did not come. She would be 15 now if she was alive, would be in high school, would be growing into the person she was meant to become. Patricia tried to imagine what Amber looked like now, what her voice sounded like, what she liked to do, what made her laugh. She could not. The image in her mind was still the 10-year-old girl with blonde hair and a bright smile. The girl who had walked out of Oakwood Elementary and disappeared. Shaw still called occasionally, usually on the anniversary, usually to say there were no new leads, but the case was still open. Patricia thanked him, hung up, went back to her small apartment, and looked at the photos of Amber that covered one entire wall. Amber at 3, Amber at 7, Amber at 10. Frozen in time, Patricia bought a cake that evening, lit 15 candles, sang happy birthday, and whispered into the empty room, "I'm still looking, baby. I haven't given up. I'll never give up." June 1999. 8 years after Amber disappeared, Jasmine Cole graduated from high school. She was 18 years old, had lived as Jasmine for 8 years, had a diploma with that name, had a driver's license with that name, had a social security number that traced back to a dead infant from 1981. She was Jasmine Cole in every way that mattered legally. But at night, she was still Amber, still remembered Patricia Lawson, still whispered, "Don't let your feet stick out," before falling asleep. David and Linda gave her a choice. She could go to community college locally and live at home, or she could get a job and stay in the area. Leaving was not an option. They did not say it explicitly, but Jasmine understood. If she tried to leave, tried to move away, they would find a way to stop her. She took a job at a coffee shop, saved money, moved into a small apartment that David and Linda helped pay for. They still controlled her, still watched her, but gave her slightly more freedom now that she was an adult. In August, Jasmine saw a job posting for First Carolina Bank. Call center position, customer service, no experience necessary, good pay, benefits. She applied, got an interview, was hired within a week, started training in September, learned the systems, learned how to look up customer accounts, learned what information was available and what was restricted, and realized something that made her heart race. The customer database had search functions, could filter by name, by location, by account details. She could search for Patricia Lawson if her mother was still in North Carolina. If she still had an account with First Carolina Bank, Jasmine could find her. The realization hit her like a physical blow. After 8 years of believing there was no way out, no way to make contact, she had accidentally found a door. She started searching carefully during slow periods when supervisors were not watching too closely. Typed Patricia Lawson into the search bar, got dozens of results, filtered by location, Durham, Greensboro, Raleigh, narrowed it down, filtered. By age, Patricia would be in her 40s now. Narrowed it further, filtered by account activity, active accounts only. Accounts that had been open for years. Over weeks of careful searching, Jasmine found one that fit. Patricia Lawson, Durham, North Carolina. Account opened in 1985, age matched, location matched. Jasmine stared at the screen, at her mother's name, at the address and phone number listed. In the system, she could call, could make contact, could send a message. But how? If she called as herself, if she said, "I'm Amber, I was kidnapped," David's warnings would come true. They would think she was insane, would check her identity, would see Jasmine Cole, would dismiss her as a fraud. She needed something else, something that only Patricia would understand, something that could not be explained away. Don't let your feet stick out. The phrase her mother had said every night for 10 years, the phrase no one else would know, if Jasmine said those words, Patricia would know, would understand, would believe. Jasmine spent 2 weeks building up courage, rehearsing in her mind, planning exactly what she would say. Finally, in late November, Patricia Lawson's account came up in her call queue. A routine service notification, standard script. Jasmine took a deep breath, made the call, delivered the script perfectly, and at the end, without changing her tone, added 6 words. By the way, don't let your feet stick out. Then hung up before Patricia could respond. Sat at her desk, shaking, waiting, hoping that after 9 years, the message had been received. Detective Marcus Shaw sat in his office the morning after Patricia Lawson's call and reviewed the file he had not closed in 9 years. Amber Lawson, missing since May 17, 1991, age 10 at time of disappearance. No leads, no sightings, case status, cold. Patricia's call had been brief, shaking, desperate. A woman from First Carolina Bank called me about account updates. At the end of the call, she said something only Amber would know, a phrase I said to her every night. I think it was her. I think my daughter called me. Shaw had asked careful questions. What was the phrase? Don't let your feet stick out. Who else knew it? No one. Just Patricia and Amber. He had taken down the information. Jasmine Cole, call center employee at First Carolina Bank, Raleigh office. Now sitting at his desk, Shaw ran a background check. Jasmine Marie Cole, born March 12, 1981, North Carolina, current address, current employer. First Carolina Bank, clean record, no arrests, no warrants. Driver's license photos showed a young woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. Shaw pulled up the age progression photo the FBI had created for Amber Lawson. What she might look like at 19, he set it next to Jasmine Cole's driver's license photo. The resemblance was striking, not definitive, but close enough to warrant investigation. Shaw picked up the phone, called First Carolina Bank, asked to speak with the HR department. I need to verify employment for Jasmine Cole. Can you confirm her start date and provide any available background information? The HR representative checked records. Jasmine Cole started in September 1999. Clean background check, no issues with performance. Do you have copies of her application materials, birth certificate, social security card? We would have verified those documents during hiring, but I can't release copies without a warrant. Understood. Thank you. Shaw hung up, stared at the two photos on his desk. If Jasmine Cole was really Amber Lawson, someone had given her a false identity, had created documents convincing enough to pass background checks, had kept her hidden for 9 years. That level of organization suggested a network, not a random. Kidnapping something more calculated, Shaw called Patricia. I need you to come to the station. We're going to request that Jasmine Cole come in for questioning. Will she be in trouble? No. If she's Amber, she's a victim. But I need to verify this before we go any further. Patricia's voice cracked. What if she won't come? What if she's scared? Then we'll find another way. But Mrs. Lawson, I need you to prepare yourself. This might not be Amber. It might be a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. I know my daughter's voice. Shaw did not argue. Hope was a delicate thing. He would not take it away until he had proof, one way or another. He called First Carolina Bank again, asked to speak with Jasmine Cole, the supervisor. Who answered, said Jasmine, had called in sick that morning, had not come to work. Shaw felt his instincts kick in. Has she ever called in sick before? Not since she started. Thank you. He hung up, looked at Jasmine Cole's address, made a decision. I'm going to talk to her, he told Patricia. Stay by your phone. Jasmine Cole had not gone to work that morning because she could not stop shaking, had not slept, had spent the entire night replaying the phone call in her mind. She had done it, had sent the message, had said the words that only her mother would understand. But what happened now? David and Linda did not know. She had been careful, had made the call from work, had not told them anything. But if the police came, if they started asking questions, David and Linda would find out. Would know she had broken the one rule they had enforced for 9 years. Don't tell anyone who you really are. Jasmine sat on her couch, staring at her phone, waiting for it to ring, waiting for something to happen. A knock at the door made her jump. She stood up slowly, walked to the door, looked through the peephole. A man in his 50s stood outside, plain clothes, badge visible on his belt. Police? Jasmine's heart started pounding. David's voice echoed. In her mind, if you go to the police, they'll arrest you. They'll put you somewhere, no one will ever find you. The man knocked again. Jasmine Cole, I'm Detective Marcus Shaw with the Greensboro Police Department. I need to talk to you about a phone call you made yesterday. Jasmine's hand was on the doorknob. She could open it, could let him in, could tell him everything, or she could stay silent, could pretend she was not home, could protect herself the way David had taught her. She opened the door. Shaw saw immediately that the young woman standing in front of him was terrified, hands shaking, face pale, eyes wide. Jasmine Cole? Yes. I'm Detective Shaw. Can I come in? She stepped aside, let him enter, closed the door. They sat in her small living room. Shaw pulled out a photo, showed it to her. Do you recognize this woman? It was her mother, older than Jasmine remembered, but unmistakable. Yes, who is she? Jasmine's voice was barely a whisper. Patricia Lawson. How do you know her? Shaw kept, his expression neutral. Your mother's name is Linda Cole, according to your birth certificate. That's not true. Jasmine's voice was shaking. My name is Amber Lawson. I was taken in 1991. A woman told me my mother was in an accident. She brought me to David and Linda Cole. They told me I was illegal, that if I went to the police, they'd arrest me. They made me use the name Jasmine. Shaw listened without interrupting, took notes, asked careful questions. Where did you live before you were taken? Greensboro on Maple Street. I don't remember the number. What school did you go to? Oakwood Elementary. I was in 5th grade. Mrs. Henderson was my teacher. Shaw checked his notes. All of that matched Amber Lawson's file. The phone call you made yesterday. You said, don't let your feet stick out. Why? It's what my mother said to me every night when she tucked me in to make sure I stayed warm under the blanket. I thought if I said it, she would know it was me. Shaw set down his pen, looked at the young woman sitting across from him, saw the fear, saw the hope, saw 9 years of lies written on her face. Jasmine, Amber, you're not in trouble, you're not illegal. You were kidnapped. Do you understand? You're a victim. Amber started crying. They said the police would arrest me. They lead to keep you from getting help, to keep you under their control. Are David and Linda going to be arrested? Yes, they participated in an illegal adoption. They knew you were taken. They kept you against your will. That's kidnapping. Amber was shaken. What happens to me now? Now we verify your identity. We'll do a DNA test to confirm you're Amber Lawson, and then we'll get you home to your real mother. She still wants me. Shaw's voice softened. She never stopped looking for you, not for one day in 9 years. If you have ever been told that you are unwanted, that you are illegal, that you are nothing. You know what those words meant to Amber? The permission to exist, the permission to be seen. The DNA test was processed as a priority. Results came back in 3 days. 99.9% match. Jasmine Cole was Amber Lawson. Shaw called Patricia. It's her. It's Amber. Patricia. Could not speak, just sobbed into the phone. She wants to see you, Shaw said. Whenever you're ready. Now, I'm ready. Now they arranged to meet at the police station. Neutral ground, safe space. Shaw would be there to help. Amber, because that was her name now, not Jasmine, sat in a conference room waiting. Her hands would not stop shaking. She was 19 years old, had not seen her mother since she was 10. Would Patricia recognize her? Would she be disappointed? Would she blame Amber for not finding a way home sooner? The door opened. Patricia walked in, stopped, stared, put a hand over her mouth. Amber. Amber stood up. Mom. Patricia crossed the room in 3 steps, wrapped her arms around her daughter, held her so tight Amber could barely breathe. I'm sorry, Amber whispered. I'm so sorry. I should have come home. I should have found a way. No? Patricia pulled back, looked at her daughter's face. You were 10 years old. This is not your fault. None of this is your fault. They said you didn't want me, that you gave me up. I never stopped looking. Not for one single day. I knew you were alive. I knew you were out there somewhere. Amber started crying. I remembered you. I remembered the blanket. Every night I said it, don't let your feet stick out. Patricia was crying too. I'm here now. You're safe now. You're home. They held each other for a long time. 2 people separated by 9 years of lies, finding their way back to the truth. A community of families reunited after years of separation knows that love does not forget, that even when memory fades, the bonds remain, that coming home is possible even when the world says it is not. David and Linda Cole were arrested too, days later, charged with kidnapping, conspiracy, and participating in illegal adoption fraud. During questioning, David claimed they had believed Jasmine was a legal adoption, that they had been told her mother had given her up willingly, that they had not known she was a missing child. The evidence said otherwise. Records showed David and Linda had paid $30,000 to a woman named Margaret Ross, the same woman who had taken Amber from the school. Phone records showed multiple conversations between them before Amber's arrival. They had known, had paid for a stolen child, had kept her through threats and manipulation. Margaret Ross was harder to find. She had disappeared after delivering Amber. The illegal adoption network had collapsed under federal investigation in 1995. Several members had been arrested, others had vanished. Ross was eventually located in Florida, arrested, charged as part of the larger conspiracy. She claimed she was just a courier, that she did not know the children were being taken, that she thought the adoptions were legitimate. No one believed her. The network had operated for nearly a decade, had taken dozens of children, had created false identities, had placed them with families willing to pay for a child without asking too many questions. Some of those children were eventually found, others remained lost, living under false names, believing the lies they had been told. Amber was one of the lucky ones, had found her way home. David and Linda Cole were sentenced to 15 years each. Margaret Ross received 25. Amber attended the sentencing, sat beside Patricia, listened to the judge explain the charges. When given the chance to make a statement, Amber stood. I don't know if what you did makes you evil or just broken, but you stole 9 years from me. 9 years I could have spent with my real mother. 9 years of believing I was illegal, that I was unwanted, that no one would help me. Her voice was steady, clear. I'm not Jasmine Cole. I never was. I'm Amber Lawson, and I'm going home. After the trial, Amber moved back to Durham with Patricia, started the long process of reclaiming her identity, changed her name legally back to Amber Lawson, got a new birth certificate, new social security card, new driver's license. Everything that said Jasmine Cole was erased. She enrolled in community college, studied psychology, wanted to understand what had happened to her, wanted to help other children who had been taken. 2 years after being found, Amber wrote an article for a national magazine about illegal adoptions and stolen identities. The article ended with this: I was 10 years old when I was taken. I was 19 when I found my way home. I lost 9 years. But I never lost myself. Every night, even when I was told I was someone else, I whispered the words my mother had taught me. Don't let your feet stick out. Stay warm. Those words saved me, reminded me who I really was, gave me the courage to reach out when I finally could. If you're reading this and you suspect your identity is not real, if you remember another name, another family, another life, you are not illegal. You are not unwanted. You are a victim of a crime. Reach out, tell someone, find a way home, because somewhere someone is still looking for you, still hoping, still believing you're alive. My mother never gave up, and I came home. You can too, if this story reminds you that some missing children do come home, that mothers who refuse to give up sometimes get their daughters back. That 9 years is not too long to hope. Remember this: the people who steal children and erase their identities deserve no mercy. The networks that profit from stolen lives deserve to be destroyed. The families who knowingly participate deserve to be held accountable. But the children, the Ambers and the Jasmines, and all the others living under false names are not criminals, are not illegal, are victims who need help finding their way home. Someone is still missing. Someone is still searching. Don't stop looking. Don't stop hoping, because Amber Lawson came home after 9 years, and her story belongs to every mother who refuses to give up.